Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for checking out the video. Southside Braves here. And today for you, I'm excited to say we got week 1 of the Rocket Recap. It's just my weekly video series about the Rocket Draft League. It is my second season doing these, second season being a part of the league. So I'm excited to bring these back. If you haven't had a chance to check these out before, or if you're new to the league or such, what these are I go through the week matches of the week that just happened, give out some awards from the week, talk about power rankings, standings, kill leaders, stuff like that. And then we look ahead to the week 2 matches, and we start breaking those down just a little bit. We don't go into super detail about anything, just kind of briefly hit on a bunch of different things. So I hope you guys enjoy them. I'm glad to bring them back. So all that being said, the first thing we jump into is the week 1 matches. So that's what we're going to do. So the first match of the week was the Hellblaze Volcaronas versus the Rillabooms. And unfortunately, at the time of recording this match has not yet been played, so I can't really break it down. So moving on to match number 2. We had the Miltanks versus the Litwicks. This one was kind of a rivalry from last season. They did play 3 times, twice in the regular season, once in the playoffs. And if I recall, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Miltanks took 2 out of 3 of those. I hope that's correct. But Litwicks definitely take this one with a big 4-0 win. I haven't got a chance to see the match yet. I believe Abomination, coach of the Miltanks, is going to upload it, but it has not yet been uploaded when I'm recording this. So I haven't got a chance to see it, but I have seen the stats. And for the Miltanks, Zorork picked up both their kills. And for the Litwicks, Rillaboom went in with 3 kills, Azelf went 1-0, and Vespa Queen went 2-1. So that was this match here. Moving on to our next match. In our next match, it was my own. And again, if you haven't seen the format of these before, I put kind of what I thought the play of the game was, or where the game turned in the middle, so you can kind of see that as it's happening. For my match specifically, it was a pretty well-played match. I thought my opponent played very well. I was able to set up my Weavile pretty strongly at the end of the game to come in and clean up. I was just worried. There's 3 Pokemon left. Weavile could kill all of them if I hit my triple axles. So I was very worried that Weavile would miss a triple axle. Fortunately for me, he did not. Went through, picked up the rest of the kills, so you can see some of these triple axle kills coming in from the banded Weavile. So over in the stats, you can see Weavile did go 3-0. Slowking picked up a kill for me, and Dracozolt picked up a kill while dying. And for my opponent, Nidoqueen put in some good work, going 2-1. Zeraora picked up his other kill, going 1-1. And then Blastoise, unfortunately, couldn't get going for him with the 0-1 there. I tried to set up the sand early with Hippowdon and Dracozolt. My opponent dealt with that pretty well. Like I said, Nidoqueen was his big performer in the match. And then Weavile hit all of his attacks late to help clean it up. So again, this is the first one with everything on the screen. So again, for newcomers, I'm just going to kind of tell you what you're looking at. You obviously see the logos up top of the matchup. You got the play of the game in the middle. Stats are always going to be on the right. And then a quick little summary of the match on the bottom. So I kind of went through it for this one. That's how it works. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next match. It was the San Diego Dragonites versus the Heligon Hydreigons. Another match that unfortunately I didn't get to see. I don't believe either coach uploads. If any point that's wrong, if I missed an upload, please let me know. I'll go back and watch it. But the Hydreigons do pick up the 4-0 win. For the Dragonites, Togekiss picked up both their kills. And for the Hydreigons, Rotom picked up 3, Urshifu Rapid Strike had 2, and Bronzong picked up the last one. I don't love seeing Blattle and the Hydreigons have Bronzong again. Never really performed well against that mon when it's on Blattle's team. So, don't love seeing it, but it did pick up a kill for him this week. And we'll go ahead and move on to matchup number 5. This was the surprise game of the week, in my opinion. We had the Blossom versus the Kecleons. The Kecleons were the shock of last season. New name, same coach. He performed very, very well last season. Was a phenomenal coach. Made the playoffs. Had a very strong season. The Blossoms, I don't know much about them, to be honest. So I apologize for that. It is a new coach that I have not, like I said, been in a league with or anything. So that's why I kind of found this one as a surprise. A coach that I know versus one that I don't. And one that I know has been very successful. Picking up a 3-0 loss here. So, in the middle, again, you can see kind of the play of the game. was a huge prediction when he had Rotom in to go for the Earth Power, expecting these Metagross. He did have the berry to eat the Earth Power pretty well, but it did not allow him to eat a second one. So getting rid of that Metagross really stopped a lot of things that the Kecleons kind of needed later in the game. He needed that Metagross around, and that Earth Power prediction really stopped that from happening. So I kind of took that as the play of the game. For the Blossoms, Kyurem went 2-0, Tapu Fini went 2-1, and Landorus T picked up a kill as well. For the Kecleons, their Gengar went 2-1, their Rotom went 1-1, and unfortunately couldn't get the Cinderace going. Gave him some decent momentum out of the Cinderace, but just wasn't able to pick up the kills like you might expect out of that Mon. So yeah, in the summary you see a new face takes on a returning powerhouse. Again, this team was very impressive last year, and Max's team, the Blossoms, coming in and kind of putting in some work against him was very surprising for me, and he appears to be a coach to look out for. That prediction, like I said, allows the Kyurem to come in and cause a lot of problems for the Kecleons. And one thing that the Kecleons tried early on was setting up a belly drum with Slurpuff. He even says in the video it might be a little too early to do it. If he pulls it off, he gets it set up, Slurpuff can put in an immense amount of work in this match. But Volibee, on the other side, having foul play, immediately shut that down. So all that leads to the Blossoms' 3-0 victory here. So moving on to our next match. In our next match, we had the Kinglers versus the Agrons. Two coaches that I'm not familiar with in this one, and unfortunately I don't get to see the match. So, but looking at the kills, the only Pokemon in the game with kills was Magnezone, picking up 4 of them. So, kind of sums it up right there. Kinglers pick up a 6-2 win. And again, I didn't get to see it. That's all I got to say about it. Magnezone putting in work. Moving on to our next match. We had the Pidgeys versus the Vibravas. So, play of the game here for me was the... why am I blanking on the name? Cresselia. Setting up some Calm Minds here and putting in work. Even after this Calm Mind, he Shadow Balls the Corsola, and it lives, and actually disables his Shadow Ball, which was unfortunate. But at that point, Psychic was more than enough to kill. And then he also picks up a kill on the bug coming in afterwards, the Ninjask. So I believe, over on the right, you can see Cresselia picked up 3 kills in the match. So Cresselia getting set up here was the play of the game for me. Urshifu picked up a kill, and Arcanine went 1-1 as well, trading with the... trying to remember what it traded with. Cinccino? It went 1-for-1. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but for the Vibravas, Darmanitan picked up a kill, and Jirachi picked up 1, whereas the Arcanine took himself out with Life Orb, so that's why you only see 2 kills for the Vibravas over there. Cinccino applied a lot of pressure early, but couldn't really follow up much in the second half of the game after that. I would say if you watched just the first 5 minutes, I thought the Vibravas were playing very well and kind of had momentum with that Cinccino. But again, after that, couldn't really continue the pressure that provided. Cresselia became the star of the match in the second half. Like I said, setting up and taking out half the team. This one's 3-0, which you might not think is that close of a match. Honestly, I think a couple different plays here and there from the Vibravas could have really turned this the other way. I thought this was actually a very winnable match for the Vibravas, and I thought it was much closer than the 3-0 score would indicate. So, overall, I thought this was a decent game, and the Pidgeys do pick up that 3-0 win. Moving on to our final match of the week, we had the Vikavolt going up against the Latias. And so the Vikavolt here do pick up the 0-1 loss. Play of the game here at the end was kind of crazy. His opponent has Garchomp. For the Latias, they have Garchomp and Frostlass left. For the Vikavolts, they have Tornadus and Slowbro, Galarian Slowbro left. So Garchomp kind of cleans up here. He can just Scale Shot away. But he does get the Hurricane Confusion. And then that also leads to Garchomp hitting himself. So this gave the Vikavolts a chance here. But his next Hurricane didn't quite kill the Garchomp. So Garchomp remaining alive and not hitting himself a second time allows him to get off the scale shot, do enough damage here to Tornadus. He does end up switching and letting the Slowbro go down to the Garchomp because he needed Tornadus for the Frostlass. But because he wasn't able to kill with the second Hurricane and had to take that damage, Ice Shard was enough to kill. I don't know the exact sets. I did try to calc it myself. And it's Glaring Slowking, not Slowbro. Sorry. But I did try to calc it myself afterwards. And I believe if he had killed with that second Hurricane and didn't take the Scale Shot damage, that he would have been high enough health to live an Ice Shard. And so I do think he needed... Like I said, he got the Confusion RNG, so that was already in his favor. And then not killing secured it back for the Latias. So if he would have got both things in his favor, the Confusion and the kill, I think he wins. But only getting one of them, I think, gave it to the Latias. And this game actually had quite a few hacks both ways throughout the match. The ending hacks in the favor of the Vikavolt, but the earlier hacks kind of in the favor of the Latias. In my opinion, it kind of evened out and led to a very close 1-0 win for the Latias. Vikavolt's kind of balanced kills here. Druddigon with 1, Slowking with 1, and Tornadus with 1, along with some others, but I don't include in those 3. For the Latias, Frostlass and Garchomp kind of team up to carry the match. Frostlass went 3-0, and Garchomp went 3-1. Definitely the closest match of the week. It went down to the wire. Like I said, that sliver of health that Garchomp lived on, I think, decided the match. Again, I don't know the sets perfectly, so I could be wrong, but I believe it did. Like I said, the combination of Garchomp and Frostlass was just too much for the Vikavolts, and we see the reigning champ go down week 1 due to those factors. So that was kind of week 1 in a nutshell. So next up, we're going to take a look at the pick'ems that people did. Before I look at those, I just want to say, if you want to do those, please get involved. Do those in the Discord. You'll see the Pick'ems tab. Just pick who you think's going to win each match. I'm going to keep track of them throughout the season. And I do go off percentage, so if you missed a week, that's fine. Feel free to hop back in, and I'll keep track of those. If you do them for a certain week, I would ask that you do all of the games. Some people missed the game here and there, or only did a game or two. So I would ask that if you want to do the Pick'ems, please do all of them for the given week. But yeah, all that being said, let's take a look at how they went for week 1. I did not include everyone that did them. We did have, I think, 8 or 9 people do the pick'ems, so I love that. Please continue to do that. I like seeing the involvement. And if you didn't, feel free to jump in and join us. I was going to do the top 3, but as you can see, we had a 4-way tie for second. So I did the top 5, I guess. So Sven led the way, got 5 out of 7 games right. Because again, at the time of the recording of this, the 8th one hasn't been played. So that is a 71% correct pick rate. So congrats on leading the way there. And then myself, Bosif, the H-Man, and Abomination all went 4 out of 7, or 4 and 3. And we have a 57% pick rate. So those are how the pick'ems went for week 1. Like I said, feel free to jump in for week 2 and join us in doing those. And again, there was more people that did these. I appreciate everyone that did them. Some of the lower ones might not want to be seen, so I only put the upper half. All right, so next up we have the standings of the league. In the Wicked division, in the Armor Conference. Sorry, excuse me. Haven't been feeling great this week. Have a little bit of a cough, so I apologize for that. But over in the Wicked division, in the Armor Conference, that is where the game that wasn't played yet is. So you only see the one result, Litwicks and the Miltanks. So not much to talk about there. In the Surging division, myself and the Hydreigons picked up pretty significant wins against the Sandslash and the Dragonites. Over in the Astral division, you see the Kinglers and the Blossoms, very much in the same situation, picking up pretty big wins against the Kecleons and the Agrons. And lastly, over in the Glacial division, I think I'm saying that word right, isn't it Glacial? I think it is. You see the Pidgeys on top with the 3-0 win. And next, right behind them, is the Latias with that very close 1-point win. And then the Vikavolts and the Vibravas in the bottom half of that division. So now we'll take a look at the league leaders after week 1. For kills, there's only one Pokemon with more than 3, and that is Magnezone from the Kinglers. So he is your kill leader after 1 week. And then you see 6 Pokemon there tied with 3. So Cresselia, Frostlass, Garchomp, Rillaboom, Rotom-Fan, and Weavile all have 3. Looking on the right side, specifically at KD ratio, Magnezone again went 4-0, did not die, so he is still on top there as well. And of those 6 on the left that picked up 3 kills, only 4 of them did not die as well. So that's Cresselia, Frostlass, Rillaboom, and Weavile. So those are your league leaders after week 1. Next up, we're going to jump into power rankings. And I want it to be said, power rankings are always a matter of opinion. You could put these so many different ways. There's just no exact science to it. So if you disagree with anything I have, feel free to let me know. I have no problem with that. And if you're lower than you think you should be, go get some wins and I'll move you up. Simple as that. I am going off of the preseason power rankings that Volt and Captain Beanard did last week. So if you have not seen that, I'm going to make sure to link that in the description as well. Go check out them. They're going to give you a much more detailed explanation of why people are where they're at. I'm going to go through it very briefly, and I'm not even going to talk about every team. I'm going to kind of just talk about select teams here and there. Because again, if I went into super detail about every match, every person in the power rankings, these videos are going to be 2 hours long. So I'm not going to do that. Very briefly going to hit on some teams here and there and show you all of them in the power rankings. In week 1, I decided not to overreact too much stuff. I kind of want to keep the power rankings that Volt and Captain Beanard did last week. So very little changes here and there based on results from this week. After week 2, if I see the same thing again from certain teams, you'll see more drastic changes. But as of right now, I didn't want to go too much into it. And I did leave the 2 teams I have not played untouched. So they will remain exactly where they were in the power rankings before. Did not feel it fair to judge them without seeing them play. So, all that being said, let's take a look. So starting at the bottom 4, I left the bottom 4 exactly the way they were. The Latias, maybe a little unfair. I considered flipping them in the Vikavolt, seeing how they did beat the Vikavolt, but it was so close, and it was, like I said, 1 game. Didn't want to overreact to it. And the Vikavolt are the reigning champs. I think it'd be a little harsh to put the reigning champs down at 16 after 1 week. So I decided to leave the bottom 4 exactly as is. So you see these 4 sitting here. And again, the reigning champs down at 14 is pretty brutal. And I expect them to bounce back next week and have a very good showing. I won't say if I expect them to win or not. I'll show you that later in the show. But I do expect them to play very well next week. All right, next up, in the next grouping here, you have a little bit of change. Not much. Agrons and Sandslash both fall down a spot. Dragonites fall down 2 spots. All 3 of those teams losing in week 1. Myself, I picked up a pretty decent win. I did go up 3 spots. So again, nothing too dramatic here. I think Sandslash, Agrons, and myself were in this grouping last week anyways. Just flip-flopped a little bit of who's where. And the Dragonites, like I said, do join us from the next slide by going down 2. And I just want to talk a little bit about, I didn't get to see, these 3 besides myself are all coaches that I have not seen before. But for the Sandslash, the opponent I had week 1, I just want to throw out that I think they have the best logo in the league. I think that Sandslash logo, first off, I love Sandslash as a Pokemon, and that logo I think is really, really cool. So my vote for favorite logo in the league, down there at 11th. So moving on. 5 through 8 here. Again, very little change. You have the Pidgeys going up 1 spot from their win, and then 5 through 7 staying exactly the same. Kinglers being the only one from this group that I do not know as a coach. The other 3 I know can be very impressive coaches at any given time. Litwicks and Hydreigons both returning playoff teams that were pretty dominant last season. Pidgeys just missed out on the playoffs. So pretty good grouping here of 5 through 8. Moving on to the top. Again, Rillaboom and Volcarona is 1 and 2 from the preseason power rankings in the other video. They did not get a chance to play each other, so that should be a very fantastic game, 1 versus 2. It just worked out that according to their power rankings that they did last week, 1 versus 2 were playing each other week 1, and 3 versus 4 were. And so since 3 versus 4 played each other, and 4 picked up the win in the Blossoms, I just flip-flopped those 2. Blossoms moved up 3, Kecleon's moved down to 4. So, and again, Kecleon's the only losing coach in this group right now. Obviously, either 1 or 2 will lose as well. But, like I said, I expect him to bounce back. That was not the most impressive week 1 showing. But, like I said, he was one of the most impressive coaches all of last season. So I expect very good performances out of him in the coming weeks as well. Again, not going to say if I expect them to win this week or not yet. We will get there. But those are your week 1 power rankings. Again, very little change. I kind of wanted to do Volt and Captain Beamer justice of their work in the preseason one by kind of keeping it very close to the same. I appreciate those guys for doing it. I originally wanted them to help me do it for one of these videos for the preseason, but I know everyone does not, but I live in the U.S. I know a lot of people in this league do, but not everyone does. And we have stimulus checks that came out in the recent weeks, and I do work at a bank, so that kind of made work a little bit crazy. So I didn't have time to kind of put the work into this that I wanted to for the preseason. So I asked them if they would be willing to kind of do a preseason power ranking on their own and let me kind of use it. They agreed, and so I very much appreciate them for that and the work they put into it. So again, it will be linked in the description. If you did not get a chance to watch it, go do that. And make sure you're subscribed to Volt's channel. I believe that's where it ended up. Go subscribe to Beanard's channel as well. Both of those were great guys for doing that for me. So very much appreciated. All that being said, let's move on to Week 1 awards. So for the awards for each week, I give one for each division, a Pokemon of the week, and then an overall coach of the week. So for the Wicked division, I gave it to the Rillaboom, who picked up 3 kills. Again, I don't believe I got to see that game, but still, seeing Rillaboom go 3-0, can kind of guess what happened there, and there was only one match from that division, so he didn't have much competition, so Rillaboom picks up the award there. Moving on to the Surging division, I gave it to my own Weavile. Again, kind of cleaned up that match at the end, got me 3 straight kills without missing a triple axle, so I gave it to mine there. For the Astral division, you have your kill leader, the Magnezone. I don't believe you could have a kill leader in the league after 1 week and not give him Pokemon of the week, so that's exactly what I did. For the Glacial division, for some reason, I could not get my Cresselia sprite to work, so you just see an image of Cresselia. Like I said, also picked up 3 kills and really cleaned up the second half of that match as well. And then for Coach of the Week, I have, again, I mentioned it earlier, I thought it was the upset of the week. Coach that I do not know, Coach Max of the Belfast Blossoms, kind of taking it to Bosif and the Kecleons in Week 1. I thought was very, very impressive. And for that, I give him Coach of the Week for Week 1. So, yeah, those are your Week 1 awards, according to, again, only me. So, I mean, these are all matter of opinion. But I think most people kind of like getting these at times, so I throw them in here. So, these are my personal Week 1 awards. So, let's take a look at your Week 2 matchups. First matchup of the week is the Volcaronas versus the Miltanks. And again, I'm going to quickly describe the format of these as you see them. So you see the 2 teams, obviously, and then I'm going to do these a little differently than I did last year. I'm going to put down who their current MVP of their team is in my eyes. So kind of their team leader right now. And again, the Volcaronas didn't play Week 1 yet, so I just put their top tier Mon right now. And for the Miltanks, Zork picked up both their kills, so I'm making him their team leader as of right now. So looking at this match, 2 coaches from last season, and I believe they did play once last season as well. Maybe twice, maybe once in the playoffs. But the Volcaronas were very impressive last year, kind of took it to the Miltanks, I believe. And I don't expect Lucas to lose this matchup. I think it's a tough one for the Miltanks. Dracovish is just such a problem to deal with. Most people cannot, especially in the hands of a coach like Lucas. So, and I don't know who his... he does have... So, looking at the roster for the Miltanks, he does have a little bit of a rain team, which, I mean, is not going to benefit him a ton from the Fishious Rend. I don't really know who his switching is into it. So, I don't know. I expect Dracovish to kind of run wild in this. And I don't think this will be the only time that happens. So, because of that, I am going to take the Volcaronas in this match. So, yeah. Let's move on to matchup number 2. We have my game of the week. The Roll Street Rillabooms versus the Maryland Litwicks. I think this could be a very phenomenal game. Again, I haven't got to see the Rillaboom play yet, and they haven't played their Week 1 match. But if you look at the power rankings, these are 2 top 5 teams. So I think this will be a phenomenal matchup, and I hope I get the chance to see it. Even though I don't think either of these coaches record, so I don't think I will. But I am giving this the game of the week. It's going to be a tough one. I am thinking I'm going to lead towards the Litwicks. Again, a little bit just because if it's a coach I know versus one I don't. I know the Litwicks are a phenomenal coach. I haven't got a chance to see even the stats of a game from the Rillabooms, so I don't know what to expect out of them. Their team is very scary. Tapu Koko, Victini, Como, Scizor, all phenomenal Mons. But the Litwicks, again, have quite the team on their end, being led by that Rillaboom right now. But, I mean, also having Clefable, Heatran, Salamence, Zelf. So, I mean, very scary team. I am going to go with the Litwicks to win this game. So, yeah, that's my prediction for the game of the week. Moving on to matchup number 3 is my own. I'm never going to talk too much about my own match, and I will always pick myself. So, yeah, all that being said, I picked the Nidokings to win this. Moving on to match number 4. You see the Sacramento Sandslash versus the Helgon Hydreigons. Nidoqueen picking up 2 kills for the Sandslash against myself last week. Kind of was their main Mon versus the Rapid Strike Urshifu from the Hydreigons. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how many times I've ever picked against Blattle and the Hydreigons. He was the champion of this league 2 years ago, or 2 seasons ago. And I did think Sandslash played pretty well against myself last week in the Week 1 debut. But, again, I'm not picking against Blattle. I'm going with the Hydreigons to win this. And I'm hoping it sets up a 2-0-2-0 divisional matchup next week between myself and Blattle. So he knows I've been looking forward to that for quite a while. I've been trying to take these draft leagues more seriously and improve my records in them. And I kind of have in a lot of leagues so far. Definitely been seeing better results. But I'm pretty sure my career is like 0-6 against Blattle. I think I've played him 5 or 6 times and never once beaten him in any league. So he's kind of my boss fight almost. If I can get past him, I know I've actually improved. So he knows I've been looking forward to it, and I'm hoping we're both 2-0 when we get to it. So all that being said is kind of parts of the reasons why I'm picking the Hydreigons to win this. Moving on to matchup number 5. You have the Blossoms versus the Kinglers. This one's tough. This one's definitely very tough. Blossoms, like I said, I was super impressed with the way they were able to deal with the Kecleons in Week 1. I gave him Coach of the Week for a reason. I mean, biggest surprise of the week, most impressive Week 1 performance in my mind. Kinglers, I didn't get to see them play, but I do know the Magnezone went nuts. So, really for that reason, I got to see the Blossoms. I was impressed. I didn't get to see the Kinglers, even though they won pretty big. I'm going to go with the team I saw and I was impressed by. I mean, it's as simple as that, and that's why I'm going to go with the Blossoms. I don't really have much else to add to that. Again, pretty straightforward reasoning. Moving on to matchup number 6. We have the Kecleons versus the Agrons. Agron's another team I did not get to see. Kecleons I've been very impressed with from last season. Picked up a pretty big L in Week 1. I've mentioned it multiple times in this video, so I don't think I need to keep saying it. You would think, as much as I've seen the Kecleons and their coach, and I know how impressive he can be, I don't think this is the greatest of matchups. Just in all honesty, I think the Agrons have some answers for the Kecleons here. Again, Agron's another coach I haven't got to see play, so I don't know how confident I should be in them or not. But I really like their team, and I think they have some really good answers to what the Kecleons want to do. So for that reason, this is going to be my upset pick of the week. I'm going to go with the Agrons. So I apologize to Bosif, but I'm going with the Agrons here. This is my upset of the week. I'm actually, surprisingly, I didn't think I would say this at the start of the season, picking the Kecleons to go 0-2. If I had to just off the top of my head say who's going to make the playoffs, I would still expect the Kecleons to bounce back and make the playoffs. But I kind of expect them to have to do it from an 0-2 hole. So I am going to go with the Agrons. Agrons, I hope you don't let me down. You're my upset pick of the week. March Madness time. You got to pick some upsets, so I'm I'm going with the Zygarde from the Agrons to win this match. So yeah, that being said, moving on to matchup number 7. You have the Pidgeys versus the Vikavolt, 2 returning coaches from last year. Again, the reigning champ in the Vikavolt versus the Pidgeys here. And Vikavolt are also 0-1. Pidgeys did pick up a win in week 1. I think this will be a very good game as well. This will be another really, really good one, and one that I'll actually get to see, so I'm excited about that. Of the games that I actually get to watch that I know somebody records, this is the one I want to see the most. This one really could go either way. I've been looking at it, and I'm still currently looking at it. I think I like the Vikavolt roster. I was going to say slightly better, but then I look at it again, I don't know. It's so close. I'm going to go with the team that won week 1 and was able to use their roster more effectively to pick up a W. But again, this is my least confident pick of the week. I'm going to go with the Pidgeys to win this. And we're actually going to see if I'm right. The champion from last season also started out 0-2. So having the Kecleons and Vocavolts both start 0-2 would be nuts. But I'm kind of picking it. So yeah, I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to go with Captain Beanard and the Pidgeys to pick up this win and get to 2-0 and drop the Vikavolt to 0-2. So let's take a look at our final match for week 2. You have 2 coaches that I have not got the pleasure of battling with before. I did get to see the Latias play in their week 1 match. The Vibravas I did not. Again, I don't have a ton to break down here. I think matchup-wise it's a fairly even match as well. I kind of just wish I knew more about the play styles of these coaches to kind of better pick a winner. So, I mean, looking at it and thinking, matchup-wise, I think the Vibravas have a little bit better matchup in just a pure Pokemon v. Pokemon. I did get to see Latias play, though, and they were impressive in the week 1 win. But I'm going to lean matchup here. I like the Vibravas matchup better on paper. So for that, I'm actually going to go with the Vibravas in this one. And look for the Darmanitan and the Jirachi to put in some work. How does he deal with Corviknight, though? Corviknight might be the key to this match for the Latias. Still going to stick with the Vibravas. Again, another one I'm not too confident in. But, yeah, we're going to go with the Vibravas to pick up the narrow win versus the Latias and get both these teams to 1-1. So those are my picks, and you can kind of see them here. These are my 8 picks for week 2 to pick up W's. So make sure you put your picks in the Discord in the Pick'ems tab, Pick'ems channel. Make sure you pick all 8 games if you want to be a part of it. And again, feel free to pick yourself. No one's blaming you. Yeah, all that being said, this is the Rocket Recap show. If you're new to it, I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you did. I will be bringing these back weekly, every single week of the season, and I will be adding more stuff to them as we go. I do want to have coach interviews with the coach of the week. I did not do it for week 1. Setting up the first one, getting all my stuff ready to go, took a little longer than it will in the coming weeks. I can kind of just edit in future weeks. So I will be adding the coach interview to the coach of the week, if the coach is obviously willing to do that. I'm not going to force anyone to be a part of it. But if they like to, I will do those interviews. I will add any transactions that happen, any trades or free agent moves will be a part of this. So yeah, and anything else you want me to add, feel free to mention it, and I could throw it in there. And I'll probably have guests in future episodes as well with power rankings and matchups. I think I actually want to do that quarterly. So 1/4 of the way through the season, add somebody else to get a second opinion on power rankings and stuff, and then halfway through and 3/4 of the way through, and then right before playoffs. that's my idea right now. So yeah, just spitballing some ideas for the show. Hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said, please unsubscribe if you did. Come back next week for the week 2 show. And yeah, make sure you check out Volt and Captain Beanard's channels and their power rankings for the preseason as well. Like I said, I can't thank them enough for doing that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.